Number 8. Emily. Emily is the worst character in my opinion, and I don't think that will surprise anyone. She's one of those people who has zero redeemable qualities. While she doesn't start out as any worse than the other characters in on the prank on Hannah, when we are reunited with her a year later, we see that she's remained as terrible a person as ever. She's broken up with Mike since then and now dates Matt, another poor sap from their group. While she claims to like him, she treats him like her little lapdog, whining for him to lug her bags to the top of the lodge so she can find her friend Sam, only to really be chasing after her ex-boyfriend Mike so she can have a word with him in private. Once inside the lodge, she accuses Jessica of trying to make her jealous when she finds her making out with Mike, immediately souring the mood of everyone present. Whether or not the boyfriend comes to her defense, she'll start complaining about her bag being missing and makes Matt go out with her to go get it, using her body as a bribe for him to do as she says. Later on, she insists to Matt that they go to a radio tower for help, and when the tower ultimately falls in, she's in the life or death situation, she continues to berate Matt, even if he's in the process of deciding to save her from her demise. There's a point later on where Mike can decide to shoot her or not if she's bitten by the creature. By that point, she was on my nerves so much that I decided to be rid of her. I'm sure many decided to do the same thing. The only redeemable part about playing her is that she does have an exciting chase sequence escaping from the monster in the mines, but that's not enough to prevent her from being the lowest on my list. Number 7. Ashley. Ashley doesn't have the unbearable bitchy personality of Emily, but she's the second lowest on my ranking because she just doesn't have that much going for her. Her main purpose in the game seems to be getting scared by the events going on and calling out to others for help. She's not all that good at defending herself, as she finds herself knocked out and captured twice, and she constantly needs reassurance from Chris to continue on when it's clear that their friends are in danger. She's got a real mean streak in her too, as one of her choices is to let her love interest Chris get murdered right in front of her if he makes a choice to save himself in an earlier scenario. And if Emily gets bitten in the mines, she's one of the first to scream at her to get out and face certain death, despite the fact that they don't know at that point if the bite means what she thinks it does. I wonder how much Ashley actually likes the others, and, she just comes off as pretty useless in the group. Number 6, Matthew. Matt's particularly low on my list. He seems nice, but how much can you like a guy who gets bossed around by a bitchy girlfriend and just takes it? He can eventually redeem himself and tell Emily that she's got to change her there through, but at the same time, he can go the entire game just accepting her crapping on him the whole time. He's also the hardest character to keep alive on a first run, though, and you also have very little playtime as him, so it seems like the game itself sees him as an easily expendable character. Matt does have some good moments, notably being able to save Jessica in the mines on more than one occasion, but all in all, out of the group, I have him pretty low. Number 5, Samantha. Samantha isn't a bad character. She's sweet and has a good conscience, loves nature, and is the only one to hate the thought of pranking Hannah in the prologue. She also has a pretty cool chase scene trying to get away from one of the characters. Aside from that, though, she's just very cookie-cutter and plain. For the first few chapters, she's just taking a bath, and the only standout thing she's got going for her besides being nice is that she seems to be a pretty good athlete. I did like her look after she changes in that one scene, though. Number 4, Jessica. Jessica's a character that I like probably more than I should. At the beginning of the game, she's seen as being one of the ones who initiated the prank on Hannah, saying she deserved it, and throughout the rest of the game, she keeps that sort of mean girl attitude. But unlike Emily, her personality isn't one note. She has a kind side that shows, especially when she sees animals in harm. She can be playful and witty when it comes to making jabs at Mike, and she reveals a vulnerable side that's relatable to a lot of people. She has one of the best interactive scenes when it comes to rescuing her, and when finding her some chapters later in the mines, if she survives, she's so weak and scared that she comes off as a very different person, as if she's been emotionally shattered. I felt really bad for her and really wanted her to make it to the end at that point. She's the most well-developed of the girls in the cast, in my opinion. Number 3, Mike. Mike at first appears to be a dick, with the love for sex and pranking people, but the more time spent with him on screen, the more he grows on you. You have a lot of playtime as Mike, probably the most in the game, and his sequences are some of the most exciting. You get chase sequences, shootouts, climbing sequences, mystery solving, and the most interesting branching path options with him. His relationship levels also seem to have the most importance, or at least the most obviously noticeable effect in the game. He's not a perfect guy, certainly flawed, but I found it was easy to put myself in his shoes and relate to the choices he made, whether it was a good choice or one that had dire consequences. His plot armor also turns him into a Nathan Drake type badass by the end of the game, and while some may not like that, I thought he was the perfect choice to be considered the primary protagonist of the group. Number 2, Chris. It seems that not many people like Chris as much as I do, but he's one of the higher-ups for me. He's the class clown of the group, but he's also rational and smart, and kind-hearted. His path was pretty interesting to follow, whether it was finding out if he'd tell Ashley his true feelings, or choosing what his decision would be during the branching path scenarios, which seemed to be the toughest out of anyone. I guess I liked him more than the other characters because he shows the widest range of emotions. He seems more human than all the rest of them, which made me want to keep him alive the most, and made his possible deaths all the more tragic when they happened. Number 1, Joshua. Josh is my favorite of the playable characters. He acts as the vehicle that drives the plot forward, and without him, none of the events after the prologue would even happen. In the beginning, I sympathized with him a lot due to his relation to the victims of the prologue, and how it affected him, but I also liked that he was always trying to make a joke and lighten the mood for everyone else who was feeling awkward about the whole thing. Toward the end, when you see his mental state deteriorate, and you discover even more of the plot points, he becomes the most fascinating of the group, and you're really driven to find out more about him. While he has one of the shortest playtimes, his sequences bring out the most spooky and weird aspects of the game, and it's due to his character that the game's story is as memorable to me as it is. He also has a messed up fate no matter how the story ultimately ends. Well, there you have it. That's my personal ranking of Until Dawn's playable characters. What do you think? Agree, disagree? Let me know.